Okay, let's go. Let's see
I'm
what
Jonathan Rogers
PoE's
from
got
Grinding Gear
going for
Games,
us.
and welcome to GGG Live. Today we're going to show you an exclusive reveal of what's coming next for Path of Exile 2. Twitch drops are enabled on today's live stream, so you'll be able to claim your Sun Priest's Incineration rare finisher effect by following the instructions below. Now with that out of the way, let's get started. It's time to give you a teaser of what's coming in Path of Exile 2, the Third Edict.
Karui! I have called you here to save our people, to save our way. Over the ages, we have known pain like no other, but we endured, and we became mighty.
The Kurai War.
Now, outsiders dishonor our shores, and we have stood by, doing nothing. Hear my voice, ancestors! Show us your strength! Show us the true way! I understand.
You're looking good.
The true Makura Makoi will rise.
Okay. I like it. I'm liking this. Abyss is back. They brought back the Abyss. Hell yeah. Do we got Abyss belts now? Dude, the Abyss belts, oh my god. Those belts were so fucking
As you can
crazy.
see, there's a lot going on, and we have a lot to reveal today.
Especially when you got the
We'll
slots
start
in
by
it.
going over Act 4, the next chapter in the Path of Exile 2 storyline. But that's not all. There's also 3 new interlude acts to get you to endgame, which means we're removing cruel difficulty too. After that, we'll be going through the massive changes to characters. I'm super excited to show you how I've overhauled the entire support gem system, added new skills, and yes, there are buffs.
Hell
Next,
yeah.
we'll go over the Rise of the Abyssal, this season's exclusive league mechanic, and talk about the new rewards, crafting systems, areas, and bosses that it adds. After that, it's on to changes we're making to the endgame. Then it's time to talk about items, crafting, and oh yeah, trade. That's going to be a big one. We'll then go over our new supporter packs and finish up with a live Q&A session where Ziggy D will ask Path of Exile 2's game directors, myself and Mark, your questions from Twitch chat. And after that, at 4 PM Pacific, patch notes. They're not quite complete, but they should give you some nice details to chew on. We've got a lot to cover today, but first, another announcement. When the Third Edict launches on the 29th, we'll be having a free weekend for Path of Exile 2. That's right, Path of Exile 2 will be free for the first time without requiring an early access key. The free weekend will end on September the 1st, so you'll have plenty of time to give the game a try.
That's cool.
All right, let's get started with Act 4. The story continues from the end of Act 3. Doryani has agreed to help you find an ancient weapon that can be used against corruption, the instrument of the Third Edict. The weapon was broken in ages past, but he believes that the pieces may be found in the Karui archipelago, the home of the Karui tribes. You will need to journey to Kingsmarch, hire a ship, and set sail. When you open the map, you can choose to sail anywhere you like.
Oh shit!
Act 4 is completely
Nice.
non-linear, and you can visit the islands in any order you choose. Will you visit the pristine beaches of Whakapanu Island?
I'm sorry,
The
what?
Karui whisper of a curse that afflicts all who travel
Did
there.
you say
Perhaps it's
Whakapanu?
related to the weapon you seek.
Or Pakapanu?
Or maybe you will visit the volcanic shores of the Isle of Kin. The Kin have been more restless recently, mining for sulfite and driven by some dark force.
So sulfide's back. Okay.
Perhaps you will choose to consult with
So
one
we
of the
got
local Karui
sulfite
tribes.
back. We got
That ancient
what,
wisdom could hold clues to finding the third
abyss
edict.
back.
No matter where you choose to go, you will fight dangerous beasts, find fabulous treasures,
I think I'm gonna
and
have to
battle
play
incredible
warrior this time,
bosses.
A
or
challenger!
the Karai.
Come, Yama seize your soul!
There are 8 islands to discover, each teeming with its own flora and fauna. Act 4 contains over 100 new monster types, 16 new
100?
areas,
Holy
12 new bosses, and plenty of
new
other
bosses. Okay.
interesting encounters.
Oh hell. Okay.
There's a huge
Don't
amount to
worry
show,
about the boobs.
But we're not going to spoil
You didn't
too much
see
here.
anything.
We want to give you a
It
chance to
was
discover
nothing.
it all for yourself.
You didn't.
What
You
happens
didn't
after
see
Act 4?
it.
Well, until now you had to repeat the entire
Jesus.
campaign again before you could face the endgame. But after adding Act 4, the game
It's
is
an
far too
adult
long to make you
game.
do
Calm
that.
down.
We needed something else to do in between the end of Act 4 and the endgame. So what else could we do? Add 3 new mini-acts, of course, and we're calling them the Interludes. The Interludes are a set of 3 temporary side stories that will be included in the game until Act 5 is released.
They're not real.
That will
Okay.
take you to level 65 where the endgame can begin. The first interlude sends you on a journey back to Ogham. Renly has been
Interlude.
leading the efforts to rebuild Ogham Village after the defeat of Count Geonor, but there's a new danger afoot. The nearby town of Holton is surrounded by an impenetrable darkness, and each night their corrupted townfolk emerge to raid the local farmlands. You'll discover new areas and new bosses. You'll need to find your way through
Dude,
the
that
darkness.
fucking like hellfire, whatever
Uncover the
that
source of
skill is
corruption.
that does the tornado thing. That shit looks so cool.
Serve our master.
and defeat it.
Well, it looks a little flashy.
And that's just the first interlude. The second interlude will have you return to the Vasteri Desert, where Asala has been given a sacred duty. When the skies align, the gifting of water requires a chosen Sekima to meet with the Selkari, guardians of the sacred water, but they're nowhere to be found. You will need to track down the Selkari, find those responsible for disrupting the gifting, fight even more new bosses, discover the secrets of the ancient ritual, discover new locations,
Is that fissure?
and ultimately help Asala carry out her sacred duty. Now for Interlude 3. As Royal Thaumaturge of the Vaal, Doyani had plans within plans to save his people from the cataclysm perpetuated by Atzeri's lust for power. One such plan involved sealing a group of willing Vaal deep in a great mountain vault near the home of the Asmeri, deep enough to survive the cataclysm. Even though thousands of years have passed, he believes that their descendants may still live, and may be key to defeating the beast.
Oh, they did.
The journey up the mountain will be dangerous. New foes stand in your way,
Oh,
and the further up the mountain you venture, the colder it will become. Explore caves of ice, and enter the vault itself. Who can say what you will find within? The interludes are 6 to 7 areas each, and generally include 4 boss fights as well. When
okay.
you put that together with Act 4, that adds up to 35 new areas in the campaign, and 24 new bosses.
Damn, that's crazy.
It's worth making clear that the interludes are temporary. When Act 5 and 6 are added, the interludes will be going away.
Oh,
These are
okay.
side stories after all. But don't worry, the bosses and areas that make up the interlude are all part of the endgame. We're not just going to throw them away. And with that, we don't need cruel difficulty anymore. We do know that it was a pretty big chore to have to play through the campaign multiple times on
there
each
it
character.
is. They
And this was a
took out
huge reason that the
cruel.
campaign could feel like a bit of a slog when playing through again. But we do also have another new feature to address that particular concern as well.
So they're
let's talk
taking
about
off
sprinting.
the right
In
limitations. now.
030, when you hold down the dodge roll button, your character will go into a sprint
Oh,
after they finish
nice.
the roll.
Oh my god, we needed
This is
that.
available on all character classes, and there's
Yeah,
no
we
limitation on
needed that.
how long you can sprint for. The primary purpose of this feature is to make navigating areas faster when out of combat. Because
Yeah.
of that, if you do take a hit while sprinting,
Oh
you'll
yeah,
fall to the
you're
ground.
gonna get fucked up. Oh.
The best idea is to use a skill when you see monsters. That'll break you out of the sprint so you can engage with no danger.
God. Yeah.
If you do need to run away from monsters, just hold spacebar. You won't be vulnerable during the roll, and you're faster while sprinting than basically any monster
Oh
in the
yeah,
game,
to
allowing
get
you to
out of
retreat from
fucking
combat.
fast. Yeah.
Sprint is a pretty significant change to PoE 2's gameplay.
Yeah, that's actually
What I
pretty
like
good.
most about it is that we can accelerate the pace of the game for those who want that, without having to compromise on PoE 2's more visceral combat systems. Okay, so that's the new extensions to the campaign, but there's a whole giant league to play through as well. I'll leave that to Mark to talk about later. And that's because what I want to talk about now is the new stuff for
now
your characters.
having a sprint
And probably one of the
system
biggest
that
new systems
allows
here
you to,
is with
like,
the support
do
gems.
that's actually big.
Now, support gems are one of the most interesting elements to creating a build.
That makes
They would enable so
that'll
many
probably
interesting
make it
mechanics
feel a
and different
lot
ways
better
to play. But
Yeah,
because
because it was definitely missing
just never been
something.
quite
Because
right.
once you dodge,
One of the major issues
right,
is
it
the
would take too
limitation
much
of only having one
right
support gem of
downtime
each
for
type
you
in
to
your character.
fucking like move out
We didn't
the
want
way,
builds to just
too,
become using the
sometimes.
same 5 most powerful
So, like
supports in
having
every
that
skill.
extra like
The problem with this
mobility,
design,
right?
though, is that it's actually working against
Pretty-
using
pretty
multiple
good.
skills in your build. If you can only use each support gem on one skill, it means that you're encouraged to go all in on that one ability.
Now you
And we
won't
want to
get
encourage you to
locked
combo
out
your
and you
abilities.
just have
Something
stay
needed to
there and
change.
fucking die.
So with that in mind, we've removed the restriction of having one of each support gem per character.
Oh,
You can now
nice.
use as many copies as you like.
Cool.
This should drastically increase the amount of
Fuck
possible builds
yeah.
and increase the amount of skill diversity.
Yeah, because dude, it was so annoying being
There are a
locked,
lot of potential
right?
builds that
It
suffered
was
from the
pretty
previous
annoying.
restriction.
Yeah, it was pretty annoying being locked to having like one of the things on.
For
And then
example,
you had to
a
pick
poison
and
build
choose
previously
very,
couldn't
right.
add poison to more than one skill. They couldn't use stacking poison on more than one skill either. This severely limited your ability to combo with anything outside of the specifically designed poison archetype, but now you can.
Nice.
Many utility
Cool.
skills previously couldn't scale to endgame, because the supports that would make them scale were more useful to use on other skills. You would never speed up killing Palm with martial tempo, when you would much rather use it on your primary skill instead. There are more examples like this all over the place. In addition to that, though, we thought there wasn't enough feeling of progression in the supports as you went through the game. There were only 3 tiers of supports, and many of the most important ones were given out at Tier 1. Also, there were no strict upgrades,
Correct.
meaning that upgrading supports when you ran out of sockets required quite a lot of thinking. In order to solve these issues, we now also have multiple levels of many supports as you go through the game.
Oh, nice.
For example, double barrel support gives you an extra bolt, but at the
Yeah,
cost
we
of
get a
30% less
+1
reload
to
speed.
+2.
At Tier 2, the penalty
Phaser,
gets lowered to
or Tier
20%.
2.
But then at Tier 3, the support gem gets something new.
Okay.
It now reloads
Nice.
automatically when you heavy stun an enemy. In some cases, the highest tiers might work a little differently, and you'll have to decide if you like the upgrade or not, depending on your build. For example, rapid casting. The first couple of levels gives 15, then 20% increased cast speed. But then at Tier 3, it changes to a new approach. For each different spell you cast in the last 8 seconds, you get 10% increased cast speed, which could be a pretty big bonus if you use a lot of different spells. So that's pretty good for upgrades through the campaign,
Okay.
but we wanted to add a little more spice to the endgame for supports too. And that's where our new system, Lineage Supports, comes in. You can think of these like unique items, but for supports. There are supports that are only available at endgame, but they're much more powerful. Like Ratha's Assault. It's an upgraded version of Double Barrel that reloads your skill as you dodge roll, as well as increasing the number of bolts it can hold. But it does
Okay.
mean that it's the only way you can reload the skill now. Now, unlike regular supports, you can't find these through the uncut support gem. Just like unique items, many of these can be found from specific bosses. And there's a ton in the regular drop pool too. Some of them are fairly rare,
Okay, wow.
others fairly common. Some of them are build defining,
Total.
others are just straight up power upgrades. All in all, there's around 40 lineage supports being added throughout the endgame, so there's a lot of power to find out there. Now, the new
Well,
support gems
the
are certainly going to
fucking
open up a lot of builds, but of course we have a huge range of improvements to
Herald
individual
device
character classes as well.
blast.
As well as adding
Or
new
shatter.
skills, we had a big focus on buffing existing skills so that they can scale well into the endgame. There's a huge amount to cover here, so we're not going to discuss everything. We're just going to quick fire through some of the coolest changes. We wanted to make cold a more useful element on the Ranger, so we've expanded the cold tools available. As well as increasing its range, Escape Shot now creates fragments of ice whenever it hits the ground. These fragments explode after a short time, making the skill better for killing groups of enemies. But not only that, we added an ice fragment support that creates more of them when killing frozen enemies. And a new buff skill called Ice Tipped Arrows that allows all your arrows to create ice fragments.
Oh, okay, cool.
This already gives clear to rangers wanting to use ice, but to take further advantage of the ice fragments, Freezing Salvo has been upgraded to shoot additional cold arrows towards every fragment, giving you a nuke-like ability. We've also modified Snipe to consume frozen from enemies, dealing a huge amount more damage, giving you a nice ice single target option. And something you might notice about this is that the bonus is a lot higher against bosses. This is actually a change you'll see throughout the entire game. Since it's a lot
really?
harder to freeze a boss, you should get a bigger reward for it.
Nice, cool. Okay, yeah. Yeah. it felt
Another
like-
theme you'll see throughout
Yeah,
the game
because
is
I
making
was
movement
like,
feel better.
it's kind of shitty
Toxic
to try
Growth
and
is a
like
skill that was
freeze
pretty
the
cool,
boss when it,
but a bit
like, you
annoying to
can
use
only
with the jump
freeze
that it
them
had.
so many times.
Now Toxic Growth is a range skill, so you can spam it more easily. And we've also added a new poison skill while we were at it, called Toxic Domain.
Oh, nice.
It creates a small area around you that makes all your attacks create toxic growth pustules, but attached to monsters. Another skill that was annoying to use was Electrocuting Arrow. It's now just a regular arrow, making it easier to use.
Okay, cool.
But it also means you can support it with projectile supports. And it now also has Area of Effect, making it a tool for more than just single target, and allowing it to scale into the endgame. We also added a new spirit reservation called
Oh,
Mirage
cool.
Archer. This is a meta skill that allows you to create shadowy clones of yourself.
So we
to
got
use a skill of your
we
choice.
got the clone back again.
Of course, one of the other big problems the Ranger had was survivability.
Yeah.
Evasion was the weakest of the three defenses, and we wanted to change that. Currently, evasion doesn't evade all types of hits in the game, so you're still vulnerable to things like slams or unblockable attacks. To make evasion characters more tanky, we're adding a new mechanic called Deflect.
Nice.
Unlike evasion, Deflect works on everything, and if you successfully deflect a hit, you take 40% less damage. Items can now give you a mod that gives you some amount of deflection based on your evasion.
So now evasion isn't shitty anymore.
And there's a bunch of it available on the passive tree too.
Ooh, okay.
Deflection is rolled in addition to evasion, so this
I
is an upgrade for
wonder.
regular hits too.
Could you make 100%?
And unlike evasion, there's
deflection?
no maximum chance. You can reach 100% deflect against all hits if you
Oh.
spec into it enough.
Hey.
Of course, this is a buff that helps all dex characters, so the mercenary and the monk, but especially
Hell
the huntress,
yeah.
is seeing big defense boosts from this as well.
Fuck yeah! Finally.
Speaking of defensive mechanics, let's talk about block and parry.
now evasion
Now,
isn't
one of the
really
big
fucking
concerns on the
shit
release of the
now.
huntress was parry feeling unreliable. One of the big reasons for this is there's a lot of hits that are not blockable, and thus not parryable either. So a huge balance change we're making is that now everything is blockable, except for specifically unblockable red flash skills that bosses use.
Cool.
This makes parry much more reliable. And not only that, but to make block and parry nicer to use, you now also move faster than before while using these abilities. This
Nice.
is a massive buff to passive block as well. So to counter that,
Yeah,
we
I
did
felt
have
you
to
kind
lower
of
the max
moved way
passive block
too
a bit,
slow.
but overall
when,
you should feel much
using
safer.
certain abilities.
Fire skills on the warrior were not really cutting the mustard, so we decided we needed to upgrade a bunch of them, but also add some more as well. Let's start with a buff. Volcanic Fissure now branches into multiple fissures, giving it much more clearing potential.
Yeah, we saw that a little bit. So they upgraded.
We've also
the
added a new
Fisher.
skill called Forge Hammer. This skill throws a molten hammer that does a slam at a distance. You can recall the hammer back by using the skill again if you like,
Hammer
but the cooler
throw.
thing to do is to use a Warcry near it. Using a Warcry makes the hammer explode, making a bunch of volcanic
that's
fissures
what
around.
that was. Oh, dude,
Volcanic fissures
I think I
re-trigger
found
when you
my
slam them, so it's a great skill to make a flaming arena to fight a boss.
Dude, you're a warrior Hammerden.
We also
Fucking
buffed
throwing
Perfect Strike
hammers
to have
at
much
bitches.
larger area of effect, and changed Molten Blast to not always force you to move forward. Trust me,
Oh,
it
nice.
feels a lot better to use now. The skill now has massively boosted
Yeah,
chance to
having
ignite
it move
monsters
you
as well.
forward really sucked.
And you're going to want to
'Cause
ignite monsters
sometimes you
due
would
to a new
really want
glory
to
skill
move
called
backwards
Ancestral
instead
Cry.
of forwards.
Ancestral Cry charges up with glory by igniting monsters, invoking King Kalm's favor. After you do, Use it to channel Kaum's ancestral
Jesus,
power.
fuck.
Every attack will be ancestrally boosted
That
with
was
fire.
a lot of
Your
explosions,
very steps will
man.
explode, triggering volcanic fissures. And molten balls will erupt
Yeah,
from
I
your
think I
attacks.
found my new thing.
Warrior shield skills were another area we wanted to improve. Now that we've got sprint, we actually don't need to have a cooldown on shield charge anymore. It now also does more damage the further away you are when you use it.
Oh, shield wall.
Shield wall got
Nice.
significantly upgraded AoE. Also, you can shield charge right through it to trigger all the walls.
Oh, that's cool. And it does
We
an
also added a
explosion
new
too.
shield war cry. Fortifying Cry gives you a defensive buff, but it also builds up charge on your shield that empowers your other shield skills.
Oh, that's cool.
And Magma Barrier now doesn't require timing in order to use. Just wait for your shield to charge up and block.
No.
Seismic Cry now stuns enemies that are primed for stun. And we changed the Sunder interaction with Armor Break. It now also gives a Sundered Armor debuff that makes enemies take 40% extra physical damage. Great for bosses.
Cool.
Ancestral Warrior Totem has undergone some pretty significant changes too. We wanted the skill to feel more like using an ultimate. That summoning an ancestor to fight for you was a big deal. So we've changed this totem to require 3 endurance charges to summon, and massively
that's
buffed
cool.
its damage. It also now scales your weapon damage too.
Yeah, so for the warriors,
Since
you
there's no
wanna
limit
do
anymore,
endurance
if you build around
charges
generating
always.
endurance charges, you can summon an entire forest of totems.
Oh, really?
In order to make that
Oh.
easier, we added some new sources of endurance charges.
Oh man,
There's
they
now a
made
support to make
totem
perfect strike generate
stacking
charges,
easier now.
and a support for generating endurance charges from heavy stuns as well. Speaking of totems, we wanted to upgrade the Warbringer. Among the other changes we've made to this class, Answered Call now gives an extra totem, and the spirits have just been generally buffed in many ways.
That's cool.
Use it with your limitless ancestral warrior forest to make an army of Karui that would make Tukahama proud.
Oh yeah, man. Oh, that's
We've also
awesome.
merged the Great Wolf Howl and Warcaller's Bellow support, so that you can get all the benefits with 1 point.
Oh, and now war cries explode corpses.
And
Oh,
Encased
wow.
in Jade no longer removes the Jade when getting hit, making it a much better defense. Next up, let's talk about accuracy. Accuracy was always intended to be something that warriors didn't need to care about very much so long as they're in close combat. But unfortunately, that's not currently the case. This was particularly annoying with skills like Bone Shatter, which you certainly don't want to mess with. So we significantly buffed your chance to hit at close ranges when you don't have much accuracy.
Oh, okay,
Warriors
cool.
shouldn't require any accuracy investment in order to hit with close range attacks now.
Nice.
We also wanted to improve armor. Now, one of the major weaknesses of armor is the inability to defend against elemental damage. In order to
Yeah.
mitigate this, we're adding a lot more of the stat that allows your armor to defend against
Oh,
elemental
cool,
damage.
nice.
It's now available on items and in a lot more places on the passive tree.
Here's elemental hit damage.
One of the most important improvements we've made in 030 is to declunk the action and flow of shooting crossbows. You can now reload crossbows without any movement penalty.
Oh, nice. Cool.
But not only that, all skills that can be used while moving now slow you for a shorter amount of time. This change benefits everyone, not just crossbow skills. With both of these changes put
Yeah,
together,
it
the
felt
run
a
and gun
little
playstyle
clunky
feels much better.
sometimes when you had to like reload in the
It's
middle
hard to
and
explain how
you, like,
important
had
this
to
change
wait,
is for the feel of the
like a
class.
couple extra.
The Mercenary is also a
extra
good chance to
second
talk about
points,
how
like,
we're rebalancing to make comboing skills much better. Take Shock, for
Running
example.
around until I
It buffs damage in the
get
last 4
to- get
seconds
the
right now,
bolt in.
but that isn't really giving you enough time to take advantage of it. If you're going to add a lightning skill into a build that otherwise wouldn't use one, we need to make mechanics like this much better.
Oh,
So
yeah,
we've
the
increased shock
grenades.
duration on monsters to last 8 seconds. And skills like Plasma Blast, which are intended to be good at shocking enemies, now increase the damage bonus by a lot more. You'll find changes like this all around the game. Chill now lasts 8 seconds, giving you more of a reason to weave in cold damage. Freezing
Right.
skills are better at freezing. Burning skills need to cause burns that last
Yeah,
longer.
I was wondering
But making
about
skills
that
like
too,
permafrost
because
bolts
they
and
wanted
incendiary
you to
shot double down
combo
on
a
how they're
lot of
supposed to be
things,
used,
but before
it
you
makes using
couldn't
them in your
really
build alongside
combo
other
things,
skills
and now
much more
it
likely.
seems like they're making it viable. to
We're also
combo.
making sure to buff specific combos too. The freeze explosions from frag rounds now chain to nearby enemies. And using high velocity rounds with armor break will now fragment the opponent's armor. This causes monsters to take a portion of high velocity rounds damage with every subsequent hit, even tiny pellets. So that means following it with a shotgun blast is way more effective. Now there's a lot more buffs to crossbow skills, but for now I'm just going to talk about the new one we added, the Mortar Cannon.
Ooh.
This one lets you socket any grenade skill, and using it
Oh.
will summon a cannon which loads and then fires the grenade you choose.
Fuck yeah. Hell yeah. So instead of the turret, now you get a fucking
Another
cannon.
issue on the Mercenary were banners.
That's
They were just
actually
not
pretty
very
cool.
good, so we're doing a big upgrade to them. They now
Oh,
last
the banner
longer, don't
upgrades?
disappear when moving out of them, and we removed the Valor mechanic. They now just give a much more consistent and stronger buff, and you can use them when you get enough glory. On which, one of the main focuses
So
was making
instead of
various
having the
minion types
banner
more
on
useful
top
to use
of you, it
together.
just places it on
Melee
the ground
minions in
and
particular were
it
just not that
puts
great
a
compared to
red
ranged
field
ones.
around it, and you
As a
just
starting
stay in the
point, we just
field.
straight up removed the
Yeah, I
requirement
think
for
that
minions
was
to
a
have
better choice.
accuracy.
Yeah, the other option was kind of weird.
Attack minions now always hit,
Because
which
you
makes
always
them way
had to
better.
toggle it and then
Brutes got some good numeric
activate it
buffs,
and
but
then
we
toggle
also
it
added a
again.
new command skill
Kept
where they do a
doing that.
war cry that intimidates enemies and detonates any frozen monsters and allies around you in a big cold explosion. We've also changed the Frost Mage's command skill to an ability that adds ice armor to your other minions, adding a layer of defense. And it
Oh,
makes them deal
cool.
cold damage back to the attacker as well. The ice armor also makes the minion count as frozen, so the Brute's war cry can detonate them too. Unearth was changed to work on corpses of your dead skeletons, allowing you to summon the minions more easily in boss fights.
Nice.
And they also got a new jump ability, allowing them to get into combat faster.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, we need
Ray Spectre was also feeling pretty weak for the spirit cost they have. To be honest, we were a little afraid of these when we first balanced them. We've both decreased the spirit cost for a large range of monsters, and have significantly increased Spectre damage too. They should feel
Never
a lot
used
more
Spectre,
impactful.
so... I didn't even know they had Spectre.
There's also a lot of new spellcaster weapons with newer cult skills. But I'll just talk about one of them that I thought was particularly cool. The Reaping Staff is actually a wicked scythe that gives you a
Oh.
new ability called Reap. When an enemy is low in life, you can dash forward and rake enemies with the scythe to cull them instantly, healing you.
Oh yeah.
It can also inflict critical weakness on enemies too. Now, there's a lot of balance changes in the Witcher's Ascendancy classes,
Yeah,
but I'll
I
just
would
talk
like
about
that.
two of them for now. On the Blood Mage, you were previously required to spend your first points on Sanguimancy, which really was supposed to be the downside for being able to access the powerful abilities on the rest of the class. In order to make picking the Blood Mage a better early option, we've made Sanguimancy free, unlocking the power of the rest of the class immediately.
Oh wow.
On the Infernalist, the Demon form wasn't something people were really using because you lost your weapon stats while transformed. Well, you no longer do, so it's a much
Oh,
better
that's
option
cool.
now. On the Monk, the wind skills needed a big upgrade for sure. Staggering Palm can now stack up its duration if you use the skill multiple times in a row, so you can keep the effect of all your skills throwing up wind much more easily. Wind Blast had the purpose of building up to dazing an enemy, but dazing just wasn't worth all that effort. Now it just dazes on hit, meaning a single Wind Blast will make all your skills stun enemies more easily.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Following up with Vaulting Impact on a dazed enemy previously did a bunch of stun. Now it allows you to break your enemy's stance. When their stance is broken, following up with a fast attack will do way more damage. A cool build that certain people always enjoyed in PoE 1 was hand-to-hand combat. But until now, we just didn't have a real way to make
Yeah,
it
it
viable.
couldn't fucking work.
Well, that changes
Oh,
now.
all right.
The Monk, as a true martial artist,
Nice.
now has the ability to learn the Hollow Palm technique, a keystone that lets you use all quarterstaff skills while unarmed. All quarterstaff attacks now have a special unarmed version, and you get further bonuses to all your attacks from
dude.
stacking energy shield and evasion.
Dude,
on
now
your
you can
character.
actually be a fist monk.
A new keystone we also added to the Monk section of the tree is Walker of the Wilds. This changes Mana Leech to work with elemental damage instead of physical, which is pretty useful for all those elemental attacks the Monk has, but it works well for the Ranger too. Now, one of the least used Ascendancy classes in the game is the Acolyte of Chayula, so we
Oh,
knew we
yeah,
needed to
that
make
one.
some changes here. One of the key things we had to do was make the chaos damage that the Acolyte can do much more useful. So we've added a new skill, allowing chaos damage to ignite, shock, chill, and freeze, embracing the elemental prowess of the Monk in a truly chaotic fashion. In addition, he can make all of his chaos damage leech. And we've buffed Into the Breach and Embrace the Darkness by moving the effects of the 4-point nodes into the base skills. He also gains a new notable, Grasp of the Void, which leaves void illusions behind you as you dodge roll. If they're killed, they do massive explosions of darkness, dealing damage to everything in sight. Now let's talk about Sorceress skills. One of the things we wanted to improve on the Sorc is the ability to use multiple elements together more effectively. Now, this might seem small, but one of the things pushing you towards using a single element is debuffs like Elemental Curses, which lower
Yeah.
resistances of a single element. In order to fix that, we're making quite a lot of game-wide changes to these kinds of mechanics to broaden what they apply to. So for example, there's no longer 3 curses for fire, ice, and lightning. Instead, there's just a single curse that buffs all 3 at the same time.
Oh, nice. So they just
And
put
things
an
like Frostbomb,
elemental
which gave you
weakness.
cold exposure, now give elemental exposure. You can use it to buff any of your other skills. We also wanted to make switching between different weapon sets smoother, so you can use different elemental staves more effectively. To do that, we've removed the weapon switch time, and now happens instantly.
Oh,
This
nice.
applies game-wide too. Now we didn't just want to stop there. We wanted to add some specific mechanics that work between different elements, and that's where elemental infusions come in. Certain skills can now drop elemental infusions. For example, when a frostbomb explodes, it leaves behind a cold infusion on the ground.
Oh.
After picking it up, you can spend it on one of any number of different skills to transform how they work. Spark will
okay.
create a nova of cold-infused projectiles.
That's actually pretty dope.
Ice Nova will leave a chilled area on the ground. And we also added a new low-level skill that fires ice shards. Use it with cold infusion though, and the ice shards will explode. Orb of Storms now generates lightning infusions when you cast enough spells near it. And that's all spells, by the way, not just lightning. Once you have one, you could cast a lightning flame wall, which adds both fire and lightning damage to all the projectiles
That's
that
actually
pass through
pretty
it.
dope. So you can actually be
Or
like
power
a
up Ember Fusillade with lightning, which will generate arcs to nearby enemies as each fireball hits.
spell weaving in a sense.
Or maybe go lightning on lightning with arc. This skill is now a projectile, and by infusing it, you can go full Palpatine. Get fire infusions by blowing up monsters with living bomb. Then use them with Comet to summon a giant fire meteor from the sky.
Damn.
Or use it with Firestorm, which transforms it from a small area into a much bigger one. Firestorm is unique in that it can be infused by multiple different elements at the same time.
Oh, that's cool.
Add an ice infusion to rain down ice at the same time as the fire. And add lightning to add deadly strikes from the heavens into the mix. Or use it with all 3 to generate a storm that is truly apocalyptic. Cold Snap has been simply turned into Snap. Previously, you could use it to shatter ice, but now it works to detonate all of the different elemental ailments and makes
Oh,
them leave
nice.
behind infusions. And just like how you could previously use it on Frostbolt, you can now also use it on Orb of Storms and Solar Orb to detonate those as well, which means you can create many infusions at once. We also have a
Man,
Spirit
there's just
Reservation
a bunch
skill
of new shit now.
and a support
Holy
gem
crap.
to help generate them too.
Siphon elements, harmonic remnants.
On the passive tree, we've added quite a few new keystones to the Sorceress section. Here are a couple of examples. The Black Flame Covenant keystone converts your fire spells to chaos and causes your
Ooh.
ignites to deal chaos damage. Your fire spells and ignites will also turn purple.
Oh, that's sick. You could be a purple fire
The Ritual
mage.
Cadence keystone causes your
Or
invocation
sorceress.
skills to trigger more times, but makes them trigger periodically over a longer duration instead of one. Great for those auto-bomber builds. Now, in addition to skill changes, we've
Oh,
added
but
a
how
lot
would you
more
scale?
options for the
You
passive
had to
tree for
scale
each class.
chaos damage
Overall,
now,
there are more than
wouldn't you?
100 new notables on the tree, usually around 20 per
Or
class,
could you still
along with
scale
smaller
it with
clusters as well.
fire damage?
Check out the old version. And here's the new version. It's a
Holy-
lot more dense, and there's more
wow.
interesting nodes than before.
Yeah, more dense, more interesting.
Now, we
nodes.
probably can't go through too many of these in the live stream, so I'll just show you one from each class's area of the tree. We tried to be a lot more thematic with the new nodes. So for example, the Molten One's Gift. It lets the benefit of armor
Ooh.
break apply to your fire damage. Or how about Last Stand,
Oh,
which gives you lots of
wow.
stats as your situation becomes more and more desperate.
Dire, yeah.
A lot of these have themes aligning with Ascendancy classes. Like for the Gemling Legionnaire, for example. You have
Oh, okay.
crystallized immunities, which makes you immune to different status ailments depending on which support gem color you have socketed the most. Another Ascendancy class aligned notable is Sanguimatic Rituals. It allows arcane surges to generate life instead of mana, unlocking that support gem to be used with the Blood Mage Ascendancy. In the Sork area, you'll find these Archon nodes that allow you to convert all of your elemental damage to a specific element. You become a Lightning Archon when you spend enough mana, after which all your skills will be converted to
Oh,
lightning,
nice.
and you will
That's
do extra
cool.
lightning damage as well. We have ones for cold and fire too, with different triggers. Here's another cool one. Elemental Practitioner gives crit bonuses if you've triggered a skill recently, while also making crits
Holy crap,
generate more
there
energy
is-
for triggers.
Wow. They made PoE.
Or maybe
They're
you'd like
making
the Great
PoE
Boar.
into
It gives you a reason to stack dexterity
a
to
game.
make you
Holy
tougher,
crap.
giving a bonus to life and stun threshold. Or the Cunning Fox. It straight up gives you 5% quality to all your gems. Now another major change
Dude,
is
that would be
attribute
so good
requirements.
on Edge.
We felt like players
Dude,
probably had a few too
That doesn't matter how on which character. Dude, that's so good on any character. What the
many
fuck?
nodes and attributes, and not enough in interesting passives.
Dude, quality
we
is
lowered
so
attribute
hard to come
requirements
by.
by 25%
It's like,
across
yeah,
the board.
that's just good.
That means you'll have more points to spend on interesting notables rather than just
Right,
getting
the
to allocate
stats
more
that are
strength,
so
dex,
rare
and
to
int.
get, you want those the most.
Now there are way more changes than just these. These are just some of the cooler ones we wanted to show off. But I'd say that's just about enough for now. We're not even half done yet. So I think it's time that we talk about the League, the rise of the Abyssal. And to do that, I'd like to hand things over to Mark.
As you just saw, even though there are major changes to the campaign for this update, we want to make sure that every time you come back for an expansion, each area feels different with something extra going on. It is really important to make sure your experience when returning between expansions is fresh and filled with new content.
Man, we
and
might
the
have
way
to
we
go
did
back.
this was through leagues.
Fuck.
Every expansion we make has a league, which not only has a fresh economy, but also has new content exclusively available in that league. So, let's delve into the details of what Path of Exile 2's first official league is bringing to the table.
Holy shit,
The
here we
Abyssal
go.
are
The
a race that have
Abyssal
mastery
League.
of forbidden magics and necromancy. They were thought to be extinct, but have merely been biding their time underground. You first encounter signs of the Abyssal in Clairfell, where you discover that during the night, weaker members of the Undead Legion have been attacking the encampment. The townsfolk require your help to investigate where the monsters are coming from and put a stop to their attacks.
Out there, ancient creatures, lurking beneath the surface.
As you proceed through Rayclast, you'll find fissures in the earth connected to larger pits. The monsters normally inhabiting the area are being affected by it, harmed by it even, having their souls eaten to strengthen the abyssal underground. As you defeat the monsters, the fissure closes and abyssal emerge, angered by you killing their food. Once all those fissures have been sealed, the pit activates, and more abyssal pour out.
Yeah.
This is where the larger and more dangerous monsters reveal themselves, as hordes of abyssal spew out from the pit to take your soul. If you kill a magic pack, then magic abyssal arise. If you kill a rare, then a rare monster will emerge from the pit, having absorbed some or all of its modifiers for itself. This means the monsters emerging will generally be more difficult and more rewarding, as each modifier gives better rewards. If you are able to kill them all, the pit will seal shut. As each pit is closed,
cool.
it reveals a potential reward. Abyssal troves will rise up out of the pits, allowing you to get some epic loot.
Ooh. Gloves. Tier
Areas
2.
often contain many pits, with many fissures.
So even
and the amount
gloves
goes
can
up
get-
as you progress through the game, getting more intense. It doesn't stop there. When monster mods are absorbed, they have a chance to become infused with the dark necromancy, transforming them into abyssal modifiers. For example, you defeat this monster with the Mana Siphoner modifier. Their soul is eaten by the pit, and a rare monster emerges. The Mana Siphoner modifier has transformed into Soul Siphoner, and is now amplified in danger and reward.
Nice.
Abyssal pits also interact with other monsters and mechanics. If you defeat a rogue exile that's near one, it'll be revived as a Lichborn that has multiple abyssal modifiers.
Oh, really?
Lichborn
Wow.
exiles even have their own unique jewel they can drop, if you are lucky enough to encounter and kill them. If an abyss spawns near a boss, killing
I
it
didn't
will
wanna
summon
kill
a
it to show you the
gigantic
loot.
giga larvae creature.
Whoa, what the fuck? Oh my
Monsters
god, that's a
imprisoned in
big ass
essences near
worm.
abyssal pits are affected by the abyss too. They will come with an additional new essence item that can be used to craft your items.
Okay. New crafting material.
So, that's your bread and butter of the Abyssal League. Kill surface-dwelling monsters, kill the emerging abyssal, close the fissures, overcome pit encounters, and reap the rewards. There's a lot more to this league, however. As you complete abysses, you can find ancient pieces of bone, preserved from the remains of fallen Lichborn. These are one of the many rewards for your mission to seal the pits. You can use this on a rare item to imbue it with abyssal magic, adding a special hidden modifier to your item. But how do you reveal it?
Oh, it's one of
In
those
Act 2
revealing.
of the campaign,
okay,
you'll
I see.
encounter a new area.
So it's
This
just
area
like that
is
one
overrun by
lady
the
where you
abyssal
had
and the
her
lost ones.
unveil the thing. Now you
After
have
clearing
to
through this
unveil
area,
it
you'll
in
find
the
the
abyss.
Well of Souls.
So they
A giant
kind
cavity
of
with a massive vortex
mix
of souls swirling
right,
beneath you.
mix two mechanics.
So how do you reveal the mods on your abyssal-infused items? Obviously, just throw them in, right? Yes, that's exactly what you do. Before throwing it in, you are given the option of how you want to transform it, in the form of a choice of 3 different modifiers. Once you've chosen your desired mod, throw it in, where it will absorb the power of the
That's
souls,
physical,
and the
yeah.
ominous creature will then retrieve it for you.
More physical.
These modifiers can be ones from the core mod pool, all the way through to specialized modifiers that cannot normally appear on items. During the campaign, you can use it as a way to more easily add useful existing mods, but during the endgame, there is a whole set of new and powerful mods you can add to your items. Like this mod for crossbows that allows you to place an additional ballista totem,
Ooh.
or this one that adds spirit to your staff,
Ooh.
or this one that allows you to generate more combo with your quarterstaff skills.
Okay.
And speaking of endgame, you can also use the system to craft waystones. With a preserved vertebrae fused into your waystones, you can get some new
that's
modifiers that push difficulty and rewards to new heights. Here are some examples of those mods. You
Wow.
always get a choice of 3, so you can avoid anything you don't
More
think your character is
modifiers.
capable of.
Get you fucking killed, man.
With this
the
modifier,
loot.
the natural inhabitants of the area are all spawned near abysses. And there are up to 9 additional abyssal pits in the area, making it just a full-on abyss ruckus. Or this one, which causes the final abyssal pit in the area to always result in a boss encounter, be it either one underground or one that emerges out. There are dozens of these waystone modifiers in total you can get from this crafting. That covers the new crafting mechanic, so what's left?
This is looking pretty
we talked
dope.
about how when closing pits, you can get abyssal
All the new
tropes.
stuff they
But
added, all
sometimes
the
when closing an
changes they
abyss,
did.
You'll
Yeah,
reveal
this
an
is
underground
looking
cavern
good.
that leads to the abyssal depths. After
Yeah,
jumping
here's
into the
the
depths,
depths
you'll
now.
find an abyssal city, swarming with legions of the undead. When
we got the
underground,
depths
every
back.
single rare abyssal enemy will have an abyssal modifier.
I'm guessing we have the
And at the
depths
end of the
boss
dungeon,
there
you'll
too.
even find a rare with a more powerful Lichborn modifier. Once you're able to defeat this powerful rare, you can also find some nice rewards. Aside from the entire area being valuable due to the abyssal modifiers on the monsters, it has its own specific drops too. One example is a set of lineage supports that can rarely be found in these depths, like Kurgel's Leash.
What is that?
This support empowers both you and your minions when you command them, granting unholy might to you both. Another depths-specific outcome is a set of omen-like items that amplify your abyssal crafting. Additionally, we're adding some new socketables that can drop from the abyssal depths. Take Ulaman's Gaze, which can be socketed into your armor.
Ooh.
These are a bit special, in that you can only have one equipped at a time, but give some pretty powerful effects.
But yeah, that's cool.
Think of them as almost a unique socketable for your equipment. In the endgame, where you can still find depths, you also start to find a different type of underground chamber. In these areas, you'll find an ancient spire, a device being used by commanders of the abyssal factions to plunge
Not a
Rayclast into
spire.
a lightless
Oh my
void.
goodness.
Your goal is simple. Kill this commander and destroy the spire.
Yes. Heal.
There are 4 bosses in the Abyss League.
Oh, nice,
and
you
there
get
are
the
some
abyssal
pretty
belt.
cool uniques available from them.
Yes. Oh no,
An
that's
example
not
is
it.
this belt, Darkness Enthroned.
But
It
that's a
has
good
2
one.
sockets. But hold on, socketables don't work on belts. Well, this belt has a special mod that allows it to count as a different slot for the purpose of socketables. This one, for example, counts as a helmet.
Nice.
I kind of want one that counts as a body armor. I wonder how rare that one is. You can also find this unique jewel, Undying Hate.
Wow.
This jewel transforms part of your passive skill tree into an abyssal version, and has multiple depths.
Oh.
The deeper it goes, the more of your passive tree is affected, allowing you to fulfill your fantasy of becoming part Abyssal Lich. Now, the last thing that Abyssal commanders can drop is a Finger of the Lich. But what use do you have with a random undead finger? Well, the next time you return to the Well of Souls, with the finger in your inventory, your character will almost feel compelled. To do what, though, you might ask? To jump in. The items you threw in came back more powerful, right? So, what's the worst that could happen?
Ugh.
Well, you will just have to find that one out for yourself.
Oh, shit.
Along with the introduction of Act 4 and the interlude, we will be adding 25 new in-game maps. These maps will contain all the new monsters and bosses we're adding, improving variety and giving you opportunities to experience the new boss fights many times. Let's take a
Cool.
look at some examples. Rock Pools is a map where you explore a shallow rocky coastline, surrounded by coral and filled with sirens. At the end is a giant Goblin King boss, ready to eat sulfite and squish you like a bug.
Wait, he eats sulfite? That's gross.
Holton is
Isn't
an
that just
Ezomite township which has
gas
seen better days.
And minerals? Or
Explore
whatever?
and clear the township to find a gothic, Reaper-like boss, with the
Oh.
ability to manipulate storms and fry you with both lightning and wither you with chaos.
I don't think I like that. That doesn't sound great.
Given some of the new bosses added are a bit more epic, such as the Act boss and final
Oh,
bosses
shit,
of each
slam.
interlude part, it would be a bit of a waste to just use them as regular map bosses. Instead, we'll be adding some new mechanics to the Atlas that use them. These start
Oh,
appearing
wow.
pretty fast into the endgame and
There's
will
like
help bridge
certain
the gap until
effects.
you do your pinnacle bosses. In the desert biome, you can encounter a wild sandstorm.
What the fuck?
3 maps around the sandstorm contain a device you must activate. Upon doing this, the sandstorm's magic is disrupted, revealing the map inside and allowing you to access it and find the cause. This presents itself in the
actually pretty
form of a
cool.
boss, similar to the existing Citadel bosses. This boss is a Faradin Swordmaster, who has been blessed with the power of a time gem, allowing him to take his swordsmanship to the next level by replicating himself, maneuvering rapidly, and severing the fabric of time itself with his powerful slashes. In the water biome, you'll encounter a giant maelstrom, where one of the maps surrounding the water biome connects to it, but the connection is obscured. You must run the maps nearby, hoping to find a beacon, which will remove the
Oh.
maelstrom and reveal the connection to that map. Another example is this Vaal vault in the mountain biome. But how do we get inside? Running the adjacent maps to it
This is
will
actually
yield a
pretty
key,
cool.
which you can then use to gain access to this vault.
Like all the
Or
neat little
you could just
changes
trade
they
for
did
one,
to
I
the
guess.
map.
Use the key to dispel the powerful force field surrounding it, leading to the Vaal Elite and their rewards inside. These all contain Uber versions of the Act 4 boss, and the bosses at the end of each part of the interlude. And each have their own exclusive drop pool of new lineage supports, which, as Jonathan spoke about earlier, are powerful support gems that modify your skills in pretty crazy ways. As an example of a lineage support which can come from the Faradin
Oh, the
Swordmaster mentioned
Garukan's
earlier,
resolve.
we have Garukan's Resolve, which causes your critical strikes to fork, but requires some mobility on your part to properly enable. From the boss sealed in the Vaal Vault, we have Paquate's Pact, which supports your war cries, causing them to inflict massive amounts of corrupted blood at the cost of your own life. Additionally, some maps can now spawn summoning circles, a room resembling an Ezomite henge. Activating this henge will spawn bosses.
Oh shit.
It's as simple as that.
Oh, okay.
We'll also be making changes to how affixes and waystones work. As the current prefixes equals good, suffixes equals bad, iteration isn't quite hitting the mark. We tried something new here in Path of Exile 2, but after seeing the feedback, we decided we actually liked what we had in Path of Exile 1 more. Like Path of Exile 1, Each affix will now be both difficult and rewarding. Waystone mods now grant an increase to the number of waystones dropped, and an additional specific upside attached to it.
So they're changing back to
This
the
means
PoE
as you roll your map,
one
they will
ways.
continue to get more difficult and more rewarding, and allow you to customize the difficulty and rewards of your maps better. For example, the Frostbitten mod, which causes enemies to deal cold damage, also increases the rarity of items dropped as its upside. Whereas the Of Venom suffix modifier, which causes enemies to poison on hit, has the upside of granting increased pack size. Some maps will end up having a lot of rarity, some a lot of pack size, and others will just have a mixture of everything. Due to now having more modifiers granting difficulty, we will of course be reducing the difficulty per modifier to account for this.
Cool.
So, that's your Atlas, maps, and Waystones.
Hell yeah, dude.
But what about Breach, Ritual, Pinnacle content, and others of the sort? We're making some changes around this too. The first change is that you'll now be able to invest 2 points into your specific League Atlas trees before having to run the Pinnacle content. There will be a specific objective for each type of content which grants you those points. For example, in the case of Delirium,
Holy shit,
it's
that
simple.
fucking...
You just need to find and kill one of the bosses in a map. Omniphobia
Dude, this
or
build
Posis.
is insane. Dude, this
The rest of the points for each content come from the Pinnacle content.
It looks
But we're
so
making some
good.
changes to accessibility here too. Currently, access to most Pinnacle content requires the same key at the easiest and most difficult version of the content. This creates a negative feeling where at lower difficulties, instead of wanting to run the content, you're often better off just selling it to someone who can run it at maximum difficulty. To address this, each content will now drop splinters, which will not form into singular items. Instead of using the singular combined item in the realm gate, you can now just bring your splinters. Upon inserting the
Cool.
splinters into the realm gate, an interface will appear, allowing you to pick your difficulty, and you'll notice each difficulty has a different entry cost. This means if you want to run easier difficulties, it costs less, which also allows you to run this content much sooner into the endgame. Because these encounters now just require splinters, their corresponding Atlas tree no longer affects the difficulty of them, and has been changed to purely affect the content and maps on the Atlas. The Arbiter of Ash works a bit differently. Instead of requiring splinters, he still needs crisis fragments. We now have only 2 difficulties of the Arbiter. The first, requiring the existing fragments obtained from citadels. The second, Uber Arbiter, requires Calamity fragments. These come from Citadel bosses also, but only once you've allocated the maximum number of points in your boss Atlas tree, ensuring those Citadels are at their highest difficulty level.
Interesting.
Since we're talking about Pinnacle content, we also felt that the leveling curve in the late game was a bit too steep. We've smoothed this out a bit so that it's easier to get to the mid-90s. We've also added some new in-game unique items. Let's take a look at a couple. Thunderfist is a pair of gloves that grants Crackling Palm, a skill which empowers your unarmed attacks, granting the ability to call down the storms themselves on enemies you hit. Put simply, literally every monster you hit with your unarmed skills will be struck by powerful lightning. Pair this with the aforementioned Hollow Palm technique to embrace your true unarmed prowess in combat. Another unique we're adding is Henekura's Sight.
Whoa.
Equip this amulet to be granted the power of the Mother of Death herself.
Future past.
This is reflected by granting you a skill called Foresight.
Hindsight, foresight,
While
and
you have
sight
Foresight,
beyond sight.
your dodge roll no longer avoids hits. But
What?
instead, being hit while
Oh.
dodge rolling restores you to full life and makes you unable to die for a brief period of time.
Ah.
You'll notice when this does occur, a copy of your character appears and takes the full damage.
Oh.
This is you seeing that future, as if you hadn't been wearing the amulet. Ultimately, your
That's
in-game
actually pretty
experience should
cool.
be more streamlined, with new content to find.
That's actually
You'll be able
pretty
to
dope.
invest in your Atlas trees sooner, engage with Pinnacle content faster, have less FOMO running said Pinnacle content, reach higher levels easier, and do all of that while finding many new chase endgame items. Talking about finding items is one thing, but what about crafting them?
Crafting, yes.
We've taken a step back and looked at some of our crafting systems to make some notable improvements. Let's start with essences. which suffered from an issue where the regular essences were effectively useless and didn't give players the tools or excitement that a crafting system should provide. To alleviate these concerns, essences are being changed in a few ways. Firstly, they're being changed to function like regals and add specific modifiers with specific values, meaning you know exactly what you're going to get. We found that players were often bottlenecked by regal orbs when crafting in the campaign, so this helps to fill that gap, allowing you to better upgrade your items. For example, this Lesser Essence of Flames, which will be able to add a flat amount of fire damage to your magic martial weapons. Secondly, we're adding many more tiers. That Lesser Essence of Flames, for example, has a regular variant and a greater variant too, adding even more fire damage with each upgrade. The intention of this is so that when you find one early on, you don't worry about holding onto it till later to use on a higher level item. You should feel free to use them as they come to get powerful upgrades during the campaign.
Oh, okay, cool.
Lastly, our highest tier of essences, now called Perfect Essences, will function like a Chaos Orb instead of a Regal. So it will replace one of the modifiers on your rare items with the specified mod. Such as this Perfect Essence of Flames. You'll notice this one doesn't just add flat fire damage like the ones before it. The Perfect Essences often give something a bit different, with some opportunities to be pretty damn powerful. There are many different essences, each with many tiers, covering many of the more core modifiers you'd want on items early on, through to chase specialized ones for in-game. Speaking of in-game, we really wanted to expand our crafting options for late in-game crafting projects. You might have noticed that at in-game, you get way too many transmutes. Wouldn't it be nice if some of those didn't drop, but instead you got something a little more powerful? At higher levels, you can now find Greater Orb of Transmutation and Perfect Orb of Transmutation.
Oh.
These can be used on normal items to upgrade them to magic, ensuring that the modifier generated is of a minimum level. This
that's
is similar
actually
to how you
pretty
find
dope.
higher tier items on the ground.
So
But
now
for
you
crafting,
can these
higher tiers will also exist for Orb of
force
Augmentation,
it to get a higher
Regal Orb,
tiered modifier.
Exalted Orb, and
Because
Chaos
before
Orb,
now,
meaning
now
you can get all of the orbs required to take your
now
item
it's
from
not-
normal rarity to a fully completed
Now
rare
it's not
with
so
guaranteed high tier
RNG
mods.
heavy, but it's still RNG.
On top of these
right?
new core crafting currencies, we wanted to make sure there
They
are powerful crafting
reduced
bases
some
to
of the
use them on.
RNG. Just a
Now in
little
in-game,
bit.
you can start to find exceptional items. These are items that drop at normal rarity and are
Ooh.
perfect for your from-scratch crafting projects.
Yeah.
They can come with extra quality, up to 30%,
Hell yeah.
or an additional socket to use your crafting socketables in.
Ooh.
And yes, they can be
Oh.
corrupted for yet another socket.
Ha.
You can also get exceptional unique items. To add even further to your crafting arsenal, we've added a whole suite of new omens to ritual content, and
Yeah.
removed some of the more unimpactful ones
Yeah.
that weren't being used.
PoE 2 is winning.
Some of the new omens
Yeah.
include the
The
Omen
grinding
of the
gear
Ancients,
games. Holy shit.
which will cause your next orb of chance to not destroy the item,
even though that
generate
they
a
had to
random
come
unique of the
out
same
and be
class.
like, yeah, we have to
or
kind
the
of
Omen
like
of Sanctification, which
take a
is my
step
new
back
favorite.
a little bit and like
This will cause your next available use on
reevaluate
a
some
rare item
things.
to
Yeah,
re-roll the
but, I
values
mean,
of its modifiers,
whatever they did,
allowing
they,
it to exceed the normal
it
minimum
looked
and
like
maximum
it
values,
worked out well.
raising the ceiling on the new most powerful rare items in the game. This omen will also cause your item to become sanctified. Sanctified items cannot be crafted, just like corrupted ones, so consider carefully when you use this. Another is the Omen of Chaotic Monsters, which will cause your next Chaos Orb to reroll all modifiers on a Waystone, allowing you to fix your maps if you get some modifiers that are not feasible for your build.
Cool.
Besides these examples, there is a huge variety of new omens for you to discover in your ritual encounters. With the release of Act 4, notably taking place in the Karuri Archipelago, you'll be able to now find a new currency item, Henikora's Lock. Henikora, the Karuri goddess of death, has the power of foresight, and is able to see many futures, including the outcome of your next craft. So, imbuing her lock onto an item gives you that same power too. For example, you'll know whether or not to use an Exalted Orb on your item, as you will know exactly what the outcome is. So, with all these new crafting improvements, it's safe to say you're going to be making some epic items.
Wait, how
and
did that
not
work?
necessarily just ones for yourself. Or not to use an Exalted Orb. The Karuri goddess of death has the power of foresight, and is able to see many futures, including the outcome of your next craft. So, imbuing her lock onto an item gives you that same power too. For example, you'll know whether or not to use an Exalted Orb on your item, as you will know exactly what the outcome.
Oh, it adds the outcome to even. Oh. That's what it did. Right. Seeing as he has all these modifiers, right? And then when he takes another look at it with the other, right, it shows the stats.
Any core, any futures, do that same power too. For example, you'll know whether or not to use an Exalted Orb on your item, as you will know exactly what the outcome is. So, with all these new crafting of your item, for example, you'll know whether or not to use an Exalted Orb on your item, as you will know exactly what the outcome. For example, you'll know whether or not to use an
You got
Exalted
the
Orb on your item,
leech.
as you will know exactly what the outcome is. So, with all these new crafting improvements, it's safe to say you're going to be making some epic items. Not necessarily just ones for yourself. So given that, it's time to talk about a massive one. Trade. It's finally here. The moment we've all been waiting for. Fully asynchronous trade. Over the years, the way players trade with each
Nice.
other in Path of Exile 1 has morphed from using
it
the
fixed
forums,
now?
through to the
You don't
in-game
have to go
chat,
to a third-party
all the way
site?
through to using the website. These systems, in all their iterations, work for a while, but with each iteration, new problems eventually reveal themselves. Be it requiring you to be in your hideout too much instead of out there killing monsters, or never getting responses from people who are either AFK or just can't be bothered. In order to finally solve this, and this has been a long time coming, we're adding a new system that allows you to buy items from other players without requiring the seller to be present. They can
Hell
continue
yeah.
farming, killing monsters, AFK as they please, and can even be offline. With the
So-
introduction of King's March in Act 4, you will
So
encounter
there's a
Ange,
merchant, I'm
assistant to
guessing.
Rog in the Meridian Free Traders Company. Over the last 2 decades or so, since Path of Exile 1's storyline, Faustus has handed down his knowledge and expertise to Ange, and she is now ready to take over his business. If you have a hideout unlocked already, you can immediately invite her there. If you don't have a hideout yet, you will need to acquire one. You can do this by completing a quest to defeat one of the bosses inhabiting an island in Act 4, allowing you then to take a slice of it for yourself, making it your new home and base of operations. Once invited to your hideout, she will now serve as operating your currency exchange, but also serve as the figurehead in your new trading empire. So, how does this new system work?
Awesome.
In the existing trade
Cool.
system, you would list items for sale in premium stash tabs. And then when someone wanted one, you'd have to take it out for yourself and trade it to them. Now, instead of using those, you can give your items to Ange so she can sell them for you. Each item must have a price set. The prices are set using in-game currency items, such as Exalted Orbs or Chaos Orbs. Once a
Cool.
price is set, other players will be able to find the item by searching for it on the trade website. Once a
Oh,
design
it
item has been
auto
found,
puts it
you
up
can hit
on
a
the
button,
fucking
which will
trade. So
instantly
they
teleport
linked
your
it to
character
the
in-game
trade
to their
website.
hideout. Then
Oh,
you can immediately purchase the item.
interesting.
And while there, if you want, browse their other goods. In
So
case there's a good
they
deal someone else
basically
hasn't yet
built
discovered.
an API
You'll
to
notice that
hook
as a
into the
buyer,
trade
on top of the currency the seller
website,
set for the
and so
price,
that
it also costs
it's
gold to purchase
effectively
an item,
using like a
as Ange has
browser.
bills to pay
almost.
after all. As a seller, you'll immediately receive
Inside
a
the
notification when
game.
an item of yours is sold, and can also see an effect above Ange in your hideout when she has unclaimed currency. Just go talk to her.
Yeah, I don't know why they
claim your
didn't do that
currency,
in the
and
first
continue
place.
playing at your
I guess
leisure.
because they didn't build that out.
As many people already acquired premium stash tabs for the purpose of the trade system, we wanted to add a way for you to convert your existing tabs to merchants tabs, if you want. You can do that here,
Oh,
on the
okay.
website, but only if you purchase those tabs before the release of the third edict. To clarify, the existing trade system will remain fully intact, so your premium stash tabs will not lose any of their functionality. We just figured people might want to switch over to this new system. We expect a lot of feedback around this new system and are looking
Oh yeah,
forward to
I
trying
want
it
to
out
try
with
it
you.
because
As we are
that's
not
dope.
able to test
I
internally
like
with
what
an
they did
entire
there, too.
thriving economy,
Yeah,
there will
holy
certainly
shit.
be some
with
kinks
all
to
the
work
new
out.
stuff they did. Holy
Based on how
crap.
the system goes,
Yeah,
we will be
this-
adding it to
the
Path of
PoE2
Exile
is
1 when
looking-
ready, so any of the tabs you
looking
purchase
to
will
be
also be usable
shaping
there later.
well, right?
Next up,
I mean, just
we're
give
going
it
to
the
be talking
fucking
about our new
time,
supporter
love, and
packs.
care. Holy shit.
Today, we're launching 2 new series of supporter packs, the Justice and Trathan Executioner packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value in points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions. As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power or progression in any way. The Justice series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. Claim glory after defeating enemies, or inspire your allies by calling down the Banner of Justice portal. The Sphinx Mystic hideout decoration will identify items for you, displaying them as it does
Oh,
so.
that's cool.
This ancient creature has been presented with many items over the eons, so has some strong expressions to make on the quality of your wares. Become a true warrior, worthy of delivering the justice of the eternal gods, with the
Alright,
apostle of
anyways. This is just all the supporter packs that are gonna go over. I don't care about those too much, but there you have it. That is Path of Exile. Man, man, holy crap. Like I said, man, they got a lot of good stuff. And they've been trucking along. Regardless of them having to, like, take a step back and, like, redo some stuff, as long as they, you know, take the time, love, and care to fucking, you know, put the work in it, I don't care. This is looking good. Anyways, there you have it. Path of Exile 2. Can't wait for it.